Welcome to the first time ever 2 specials in 1. That's right, I'm covering SmackDown and Elimination Chamber due to the timing all in one video. We're just going to do this really quickly. Starting off with the SmackDown. So this is like Smack Chamber talk. Get it? If I have to explain it, forget it. So Bianca came out to watch Liv Morgan and Tiffy Stratton. This was a good match, really good. Half the time the camera was on Bianca. Thought that was a little bit weird, like they just really wanted to keep going back to her. And it's like, can we focus on the match? I feel like I didn't really see the match. But from what I saw, it was pretty good. Backstage interview with Drew McIntyre, the Scottish psychopath. And then Bobby comes to join in, quickly ridicules Drew McIntyre. It was a vignette with Ashanti Adonis and Cedric Alexander. I think they're really great. I think this is some sort of tag team that they're kind of like working on, that they're teasing. I'm not too sure. They were at Ashanti's house, and basically Ashanti was making fun of practically everything that Cedric was wearing until he had the belly crop shirt and the leather pants, and he's like, yeah, now you look good. It's going to be interesting to see if that is their wrestling attire and if they are going to be a tag team moving forward. Backstage, Bloodline. Some awkward stuff going on, man, with Jimmy. I don't know what is going on, but Roman asked him, who called the play for you to go there on Monday Night Raw? Start mucking around with Jay. He's like, well, Paul Heyman. No, I called that shot. Just a whole Jimmy thing, like, yeah, I ran the play. Yeah, I nailed it. I'm just like, what? And then Solo's just back there with his arms crossed, just shaking his head. Oh, man, that whole thing is a shit show, really. It really is. And then basically, Roman told Paul Heyman that he wanted Grayson Waller to sit down with him. Now we've got Braun Breaker, a.k.a. Braun Steiner. I really think he should be called Braun Steiner, because, right? That's his real name. And I think, some people may argue, why have him have the Steiner name? We don't want to always associate with him as being the actual son of Scott Steiner. No, Rick Steiner. Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, that's his uncle. That's the nephew of Big Papa Pump, the son of Rick Steiner, the Steiner Bros. But then you could argue, then why do they keep making reference to him each time he comes out? So if they don't want you to associate with that, and they want him to stand on his own 2 feet without just being famous because of his last name, he's doing a great job. This guy is awesome. He faced off against Dante Chen, which I believe is an NXT star. He could bounce off the ropes at 23 miles an hour. That is pretty wild. And we saw him do it in the beginning. I was like, holy shit, that's actually really fast. I wrote a lot of creaming. No, there was a lot of screaming from Braun Breaker. I think he just needs to slip half an Ativan before the match. We could simmer down, taper down a little bit. This was basically like a squash match, which I've said before I'm not a fan of. Did Corey Graves say that he's still currently the NXT Tag Champ? I could have sworn he said that. I'm not too sure. There's a backstage interview with the Judgment Day in terms of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate being on a roll. And the Judgment Day naturally didn't like that. And Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate defeated the Dirty Dom Dom and JD McNugget. That was that. LWO got banged up backstage by, I said Carlito's cronies. No, Santos Escobar. His cronies, not Carlito. I can't even trust my own notes. And then Dirty Dom. Oh yeah, the match. Yeah, it was pretty good. And then at the end, Finn and Damien came out. This is what happens. Because the reason I got screwed up there is real simple. Sometimes you'll have, like, let's say, Judgment Day come out. They're coming out to their entrance theme and they're going to have a match. But then, as that happens, they cut backstage and it's like, well, that actually happened before the match, even though they first came out. So then it screws up my list a little bit and it makes me look unprofessional. Okay, that's what ends up happening with it. Oh, we'll get into that in a minute. Backstage, Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and Grayson Waller checking themselves out. How great they look. And KO walked in basically laughing at them, and Paul Heyman then pulls up and asks Grayson Waller to please come see his tribal chief, that he had been summoned. The Authors of Pain defeated the Street Profits. This was a great match. And it was cool because the Street Profits came out with B-Fab shaking hands and all that. So like I said, they got to be face, right? I know I keep going on about this like it's such a big deal, but I really appreciate those small moments. And I still don't know. Are they face? Are they heel? Sometimes the technicalities make my OCD go a little bit wonky. Backstage, we had Dakota Kai that says she was jumped by Damage Control. She was seen limping, and she was brought backstage to the medical examiner's room or whatever. And not sure if that's a work again, but from a scripted standpoint. Like, is she faking it, pretending to make it look like she's on Bayley's side when really she isn't? I don't know. That's the thing. I just don't know. Drew McIntyre defeated LA Knight by disqualification. LA Knight and Drew was a good match. This was actually really nice. Logan Paul came out. Kevin Owens came out to watch. This was something because they were all on commentary having the back and forth. To me, this was great. And then there was some mayhem, all that sort of stuff. Bobby Lashley took out KO, was it? And then Drew kicked Bobby's head off. And then Randy Orton comes out with an RKO out of nowhere. I wouldn't say it was out of nowhere, though. It definitely came from somewhere. Yeah, unless nowhere is somewhere. That's pretty much it for the thingamathingy. The SmackDown, which I'm still going to have a link down below for the sake of crediting WWE. And then when we go to the Elimination Chamber, there really wasn't much to talk about because it was just like a few big events and then ba-boom, that was it. There's not a lot of these like backstage this, backstage that. There's a little bit of it. Women's Elimination Chamber match, I mean, it is what it is. It was a great match. It was brutal. It was really, really good. And Becky Lynch won it. I'm okay with that. Yeah, the man wins the Women's Elimination Chamber. Not getting to that discussion, but I'm okay with this man winning it. That's going to get me canceled. Anyways, whatever. It was great. There you go. Some highlights there that you can watch. She's feeling the pain, the ref. Oh boy. There you go. All those highlights. Yeah. Okay. All right, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne versus the Judgment Day for the tag titles. Dom spoke in the beginning, and my goodness, was he ever getting booed. I still think it's funny. I love Dom, though. I mean, it's rare for me to actually just not like somebody, unless it's Ryback. Clown. Tyler's so strong, picking up Damian Priest, spinning him around like a pizza pie. That was something. But the Judgment Day won, and they retained their tag gold. And R-Truth was nowhere to be seen, and that makes me sad, because the man posted on Twitter and on Instagram that he ended up in Austria, not Australia. Oh, boy. Now, this was one of the highlights of the night for me. Just this segment here. So basically, Austin Theory chats with the Ring, right? Makes fun of people. Nobody likes him in the crowd, but then Grayson Waller comes out, hometown hero, because he's from Melbourne, Australia, I believe. And they were in Perth. He grabbed the fan's flag of Australia, wore it around him, but then literally walked away with it. I don't know how I feel about that. I would have done that if I was the superstar, but then I probably would have brought it back, because who knows how much that flag was, if the guy or girl wanted it back. I don't know. Seth came out as the guest on the Waller Effect, and Cody Rhodes as well joined the conversation. This was like a nice conversation. Seth Rollins was sporting the Velveteen Dream sunglasses. I say Velveteen sunglasses. I'm not saying he's the only person that's ever worn them, but it's the thing with, you know, the third eye. It had a third lens that points to the third eye. The chakra thing. Whatever. I don't know what the thing is behind it. But, yeah, they ended up hitting Theory, attacking Theory, because the Theory did a really cringy rocking impression. Probably did a better one than I could, but it's still cringy. And Waller just actually stood there and watched. So I'm wondering what's going to happen in the future, because he just ripped the microphone right out of Waller's hands. He was rude to the crowd, telling him to shut up. Meanwhile, when Grayson Waller came out, he was like, look, I love Australia. He was just kind of picking on him there. So I don't know if this was just some temporary thing. But that would piss me off if you're supposed to be like broskies or whatever. Yeah, that's not cool. Like, literally just standing there watching him get stomped in by Rollins. I don't know if something's going to develop further on from that. I really don't know. But yeah. Moving on to the Chamber. Great match, as always. AJ mangled LA Knight. He wasn't even in the Chamber. They need to get stronger refs, because there's like 5 or 6 of them. They couldn't get him out. Logan Paul brass-knuckled Randy Orton after he was already eliminated, and then Drew picked up the victory. So Drew is going on to Mania, the main event. Triple H thanks to fans. There was over 52,000 strong in Australia. And then the main event. I gotta say. Nia Jax pulled her own weight. No pun intended. Because that'll get me canceled too. I mean, you could look at the ref there. He's like, oh boy. This was just great. It was a really good match. I can't stand Nia Jax. And when I say that, it's no fault of the person. It doesn't matter if you're heel or face. There's some face I might not like, some heels I might like or not like. And it's never personal. I always feel like I gotta stress that point. It's not personal. It's just I can't like everybody on the same level. But she held her own. She gave Rhea a run for her money. And it was just great. And again, she's a hometown hero as well. Everybody cheered her. She was fist bumping and high-fiving people in the crowd. You're normally not going to see that. But she knew that this was going to be a special moment for her fellow Aussies. And I believe 11 of her family members were sitting ringside, like her sisters, her mother, her father, and all that. So this was like the whole, like, you know, ending, the grand finale of the show. And it was awesome just to kind of see her as the winner, the victor, celebrating with her family and all that. And the whole crowd was very happy for her. And Nia Jax put on a believable performance. She did. So that was cool. This wasn't like some throwaway piece of crap match. And it was main event worthy. So I give her that to Nia Jax. And I always knew that she could do it. I think my problem with Nia, if people are curious, like, what's with your thing against Nia? I think it's because she used to be really unsafe. She hurt a lot of people in the past. She went back to developmental. I guess she crafted her skills a little bit better. And she just kind of walks back into the main event picture out of nowhere, kind of like what The Rock did. The only difference, though, and I need to be very candid about this, is Nia deserves it more than The Rock would have had he been in the main event with Roman Reigns, right? Because his time is gone. He's like 52 years old, Mr. Hollywood, whereas Nia is still in like her prime of her career. So it's not like she's just coming over and stepping over people's toes. What I meant by that was more in the pecking order. But then Charlotte Flair's done it a couple of times, and then I didn't really have much to say about that. That's because I'm biased, and I really, really, really like Charlotte Flair, like a lot. Same thing with, you know, I like her so much, I forget her name. Ronda Rousey, my goodness. Yeah, so just all in all, like today is when I watched everything go down, right? I watched SmackDown, then I watched The Chamber back to back. I had already been up before this even began, The Chamber, because it started at like 4 or 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I had already been up. So good for me. So I was entertained. I had fun. There's a couple moments that was like, it's going to be like that all the time. Right? It's never going to be picture perfect. It's not. This was great, in my opinion. And chances are, if you're watching this, you more or less enjoy the product that the WWE puts on, and there's a chance that you probably overall enjoyed what you saw. Let me know down below what you thought in terms of storylines, matches. What would you like me to maybe cover, apart from the usual stuff I do on Reddit, highlight recapping the pay-per-views, SmackDowns, the Raws. So yeah, thumbs up if you liked the video. It does greatly help support the channel with the algorithm. A thumbs down if you didn't like it, and I'll bend it in half, twist it, break it off in your ass. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, exactly, I don't even need to say anything. You know what's up. And if not, thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care. I hope I'm still recording. And maybe... Really? I'm under 16 minutes and I covered a SmackDown and a Premium Live event. Holy shit, I gotta go before it hits 16. Bye for now.